Boom. Welcome back to Don't Repeat What Mommy Says.
We're in the same place today, so yay.
Yeah, my super cluttered office. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the first one we were going to do today was going to be our responding to some of the hate comments on our
Oh,
abortion
on the
reels.
abortion. Yeah, they were really angry.
Yeah, so we posted 4 reels from that video, I believe, 3 or 4. But the one that got the most interaction was us saying that disabled people don't deserve to be aborted. Apparently, it's really controversial
So
to not kill disabled people.
okay,
So,
whatever. It's a hill I'm gonna die on.
yeah, so to revisit what I said in that episode, um, if you do not think you would be able to care for a disabled child, whether that is however you want to look at it, basically just don't have kids because anyone could be disabled at any time. All of
Absolutely. I
us.
mean, you could have a perfectly healthy child and then they could have an accident and end up with brain damage and not be a perfect child anymore. And I know this to be a fact because it's happened in our family. So,
Yes.
what should we do post-birth abortion, like 17 years later?
Yeah. So my whole argument was basically if you can't handle a disabled child, just don't have children. It wasn't even telling people not to get abortions for disabled children at that point. Like the whole reel that went up was just saying if you can't handle raising a disabled child, don't have children.
Right.
And I stand pretty firm in that.
I do too, because you don't know what's going to happen in life.
And if you're somebody who's not going to be able to handle a disabled child and your child ends up disabled, well, now what are you going to do?
Right.
Because you can't just kill them once they're out. That is objectively illegal everywhere in this country.
Right. But I have a feeling that a lot of people would be like, well, we should be able to do that because we talked about the slippery slope thing.
Yes.
So back in the day, and a lot of you might not remember this, but you could only get an abortion in the first trimester. Um, you know, there was like stipulations on it, and the people who were against it were like, it's a slippery slope because then it's going to be expanded, then it's going to be expanded, and it has been. And now people just they will justify it for anything, anytime. I mean, like the woman could be just about to give birth and they're like, it's fine, it's for the mom's health, which is, I don't, doesn't even make sense, but whatever. So yeah, slippery slope.
Yeah. So actually, that was one of the comments we got was that most abortions are in the first trimester,
Which isn't true.
which isn't true. However, specifically in the case of people aborting children because of disability, I actually looked it up. Most fetal abnormalities that people would use as an excuse for an abortion are detected between 18 and 22 weeks. I'm looking at it on my phone here. 40% are detected between 11 and 14 weeks. And then 18 to 22 weeks is another 35%. Uh, so if you get diagnosed with a fetal abnormality that would want you to have an like cause you to want to have an abortion, it wouldn't be until probably at least 11 weeks for most people. By the time you get that abortion scheduled, you would be in your second trimester. So abortions of disabled children are almost exclusively second trimester and beyond. So if your argument is
And
that in the
just so
first
you
trimester it's
know
not
that
really a
those
person,
tests are not 100%.
no.
There have been so many people that have been told that their child may have this or that, and then they have their child and they don't.
Yeah.
So, but even
And
if they do, like, uh, you're
well,
not perfect, so you deserve to die. It makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. It's weird.
well, and there are degrees of disability too. So like we know Down syndrome can be incredibly severe where they have heart issues and it may not be compatible with life.
Yeah.
Um, and then you might have Down syndrome that's extremely mild. And I mean, it's been a big thing with acceptance for disabled people. And now people are aggressively touting eugenics that if a child is diagnosed with Down syndrome, we should murder them.
Right. Which is, Nazi Germany shit.
It is Nazi Germany shit. And the people I called out and said, well, I mean, that's literally eugenics that you're supporting. And then they would come back with, well, I'm disabled, so I get to speak on this.
Right, and I mean, if you're disabled and you hate your life that much, you probably need therapy, and we're not therapy people.
No, we're not there for people. But
You I mean, are you telling me that you honestly think your life is not worth living? And here's my thing, you're typing on Facebook, but you're not taking your own life, so I question the veracity of your claim on that, if that was even a disabled person who said it, because really,
well, and your assumption that as a disabled person who thinks that aborting disabled children is okay,
you think you can speak for every disabled person?
right. And then there was a lot of assumptions, which I said in the first video, the left is loud and they like to make assumptions. There was assumptions that we have no idea what it's like to
No,
have a kid
none
with
at
a
all. None
disability
at all.
or a chronic illness
Not
or
at
to
all.
be disabled
Right.
or
We haven't dealt with any chronic illness, like, forever. We've dealt with no disabilities. We haven't dealt with any neurodivergent children in our family.
no, definitely not.
Not, no.
We've got no clue.
No, we've been just completely privileged.
If you couldn't understand dry humor there, because sometimes people don't get it because we might be on the spectrum ourselves. I'm not
Could
really
be,
sure.
maybe.
People don't always get our sarcasm. That was sarcasm.
It was so much sarcasm. Like,
Like,
we've lived through so much crap, and I've never once been like, huh, wish I would have aborted my kid. That would have made
definitely
me
not.
such a loving mom.
Yeah. And you know what?
It's disgusting. Sorry,
Let's
disgusting.
let's talk about that because I see people talk all the time. I'm going to abort this baby because I have other children who need me. And I think you can uniquely speak on this because you ended up with a child with a severe chronic illness
Yeah.
and you had another child at home who needed you. Granted, aborting my sister would have never been an
Oh,
option because she's older. Um,
right. But I guess I could have aborted you because life was hard because I already had a child that needed me. I could have done that, I suppose.
right. Would your life have been better for that?
No, my life would have been stupid.
Right. So the argument that you can't care for a chronically ill child and still provide love and care for your child who's not ill or not disabled at
Yeah,
that
and I
given
mean, I'm gonna
time.
be honest about it. Lauren did not get as much of my attention as she probably should have because one, my other daughter was very ill, and so there was a lot of doctor's appointments. There was a lot of stuff going on with that. But on top of that, she's extremely needy, and she really didn't like splitting mommy's attention. So yeah, were there trade-offs? Was everything perfect? No, it wasn't perfect. But if I could go back and do it again, would I abort my child? No. Or just not have my second child? No. I wouldn't have done any of that. If I had to do it over again, I would do it all over again. I might not be I might have maybe the things I would have changed maybe would be how I structured my day and what my priorities were because I was young and really cared about the house cleaning maybe more than I should have at the time. Like I might have let some of that stuff go. But
Hmm.
caring for my children, no, not a thing I would no. No. I mean, and now I have 3 grandchildren that I wouldn't have had I not had both of my children.
Right. So getting into some of the comments we had more specifically, this one I just pulled up. I didn't even know this one was here. So the reel on Facebook has over 135 comments. We have not even read all of them at this point because I gave up. Um,
And the people who are angry pretty much say the same thing.
they do.
Like just kill kids because they don't matter because the mom matters.
So this
And
one
I think the mom matters too. Like don't get me wrong.
This one says, it just so happens that deaths from abortions are very rare. Abortion is a safe and benign medical procedure. For one, every abortion causes a death.
Mm,
You
everyone.
are killing a living human being,
Yeah. Your own kid.
your own kid.
Congratulations.
Now, if
Mother of the
you're
year.
talking about maternal deaths because of abortion, yeah, those numbers are fairly low, but that doesn't mean it's without consequence.
But the maternal deaths for birthing a child are fairly low too.
Yes.
And that's the thing that people always bring up. Like, it's so dangerous to have a baby. I'm like,
It, and I mean, you could argue the nuance in the statistics and say that, well, abortion deaths are less common than deaths from delivering a baby. Whatever you want to argue with that statistic, I still don't think it's right to kill your kid.
there are abortion deaths of
There,
the mother,
yes,
not
and
just the baby.
there are complications, and they're not rare. They're,
No.
in fact, fairly common. We see about them in the news all the time. Women who took an abortion pill and ended up septic and ended up not feeling like they could get medical care. I mean, for God's sake, there was that poor woman in, I think it was Alabama, took an abortion pill or something and couldn't get access to medical care because it's illegal in her state, which I do think is a problem. You
That
should
is,
still
yeah,
have
that,
access to medical care.
yeah.
And she did pass away from complications from her abortion.
Mhm.
Now, shame on those doctors for not treating her. I
Yeah,
think that's abhorrent and it should
it
have
is.
never happened.
No.
But
Because here's the thing, like, as much as we're against abortion, the damage is done. Okay, like, I don't want somebody to die.
yep. Um, let's see, what else was there? Oh, there was a bunch of comments saying that we only hold this view because we're Christian and don't even pretend you're not Christian. I'm pretty sure we said in that
Yeah, I've
episode
never
we're
pretended
Christian.
that I'm not Christian. I am Christian.
We've been pretty open about that. That is a bias we have that we recognize. We are Christian. That does inform our opinions as to how we
Although
operate.
I know a whole lot of Christians that are pro-abortion.
Yeah. So that does inform how we operate our own lives. As far as my stance on abortion, it stems solely from the fact that it is morally wrong to kill a human being without just cause, and you are killing an innocent human being in having an abortion.
Well, and let me give you an example too. Like, how I feel about things as a Christian isn't necessarily what I think the law should be, right? Because we're not necessarily a secular nation. We were founded on Judeo-Christian principles. I mean, we just were. Whether I mean, we were endowed with inalienable rights. Who do you think endowed them? You know what I mean? Like, so that's the history of that. However, our Constitution says that we do not have a religion that governs us. That would be against the Constitution, and since I'm also very conservative, so I very much hold to the Constitution. So I'm absolutely 100% not against gay marriage because I cannot see a constitutional reason for gay people not to get married. Okay, so my Christian faith doesn't always govern what I think a law should be.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like Christians can actually critically think too. It's weird.
And there was quite a few comments about children aren't aborted. The word you're looking for is embryo or fetus.
Fetus means offspring.
Fetus means offspring. Embryo is a stage of development. The whole using the term fetus, using the term embryo, of course, when you're talking medically, I think you should use the proper medical jargon. Um, but discussing it as a concept to just go, well, it's not really a person, it's a fetus, that's just an attempt to dehumanize
And that's what people
the
do. But
baby.
think about it. When you go to a gender reveal party, do they say the fetus is female? My
Right.
baby's female.
Right. And if we wanted to get really into the nitty gritty, if we're going to go with all the medical jargon, we should be using male, female instead of man and woman. We should be using fetus or neonate. Those are not words people use in their typical vernacular when they're just discussing an issue
Right. So when you
among
talk about an
friends.
unborn child in the terms of abortion, the reason people are saying zygote, which nobody gets aborted as a zygote because nobody knows they're pregnant. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, just so you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen. Um, embryo, so I don't think happens very often. Fetus, it's an attempt to dehumanize the child.
Yep.
And nice try, because no, I actually do believe in science.
Yeah, and there's been a historical pattern of dehumanizing undesirable groups of people.
Sure.
And it was, I don't know, there was a guy with a little funny mustache who was really fond of that tactic.
Yeah, it's like when they did the brochures about the Jews being like rats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another one I've heard often is parasite.
Parasite, yep, parasite. Which, um, by the way, unborn babies do not meet the criteria as a parasite, so you can stop with that one. Like, honest to God, before you make an argument, cursory research. We have all the information at our fingertips now. You sound stupid.
You do.
It hurts my brain. I'm not kidding. Like, I am all for hearing an intelligent argument. Could you make one? Because I haven't heard one. The only one I actually respect is somebody who said, "Yes, I believe it's human." Blah blah blah. but I just think it's fine to do that. Okay, at least that was honest.
Yeah, and honestly, even the people who said, I think it's okay to do it at any time because their belief is basically the person who's pregnant is more important. And I mean, if that's your belief, fine, I can at least respect that. You're not arguing the science, you're just arguing
Right.
that.
Right. Just quit trying to blow smoke up my ass, and it doesn't tickle. I don't like it.
But my thing with if you're going to place importance on somebody in this scenario, what other scenarios is that going to lead to? Because we've talked about the slippery slope and we've seen it. We've been on this slope for I don't even know
I've
how long,
ridden the
years.
entire slope, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the if you're coming late in the game, what was pretty close to the genesis of the slope, and it's ugly.
Yeah. So there was also a few comments of people who I think didn't quite understand what we were getting at.
That's true.
Because there was this one, I believe a fetus is human, so why are you imposing the lie on me that it's not? And
I don't think we ever said that.
we never said that. We actually said exactly the opposite. So I think that person may have just been a little bit confused.
And I think here's the thing: it is a very inflammatory topic, and people are very passionate on both sides. And so sometimes people don't maybe listen. They have a point they want to get across. And I understand that too. And the thing is, we have to be able to discuss it rationally because it is an important subject. Because if you're on the side of I care about women and women are the ultimate in this scenario, the mom, there are ramifications for women who do this. Okay, so let's be cognizant of that.
yeah, I think for most people in the debate, it falls into, the category of abortion is okay because we need to protect the mom, or abortion is not okay because we need to protect the babies. I don't think either one of those positions is coming from a place where they are wanting to cause harm.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think people are just bad people. But here's the thing, like again, I grew up in the 80s and I don't even want to tell you how many of my friends aborted their children. And I've seen it. Now, it doesn't mean I love those women any less. They're like I care about them very much, but I've seen what it does to them. I've seen a, a medical emergency because of it. I've seen a lot, and I've also seen how, well, in one instance, she had two abortions actually, and she was an underage person who was engaging in sexual activity with an adult. And do you think he was ever prosecuted? No, he was protected.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody at the Planned Parenthood asked her who got her pregnant? She was underage. He should have been reported, right? So now we have a pedophile that got away with, and she's the one who bears the scars of the two abortions and being molested.
Yeah.
She's the person who deals with that, right? And it was protected. He was protected.
Yeah.
But we care about women.
Oh, another comment I just scrolled past. I forgot all about this one. Somebody thought it was AI. Our whole argument was AI generated. We are AI generated. This was an AI driven post, and it's just to distract you from the real issues in this country.
I'm kind of flattered because
Me too.
I look
Like,
I
if
think
I
I
was
look good enough to be AI. Nice.
like if I was AI generated, did it really need to add the acne?
Did it really? I mean, my teeth are jacked, man.
Mine too. So
Wrinkles and shit. Yeah.
somebody thought it was AI generated, and
I
that
didn't know this was beauty standards.
it was created to distract from real issues in this country. And here's the thing.
This is a real issue.
It's a real issue. We are moms. We are real people. Literally, people have met us in person. We do live events.
We do live events.
Um,
We write books.
we write books. Like we are
And let me tell
real.
you what, Norma, she would never abort her child.
Oh God, no. But
Norma would lay down her life for any child.
not only are we not AI, but we are real people, and we believe this is a real issue. And yes, there are bigger issues every day. I mean, I don't
I don't
think
really
so.
think so.
I
I
think
think this is the human rights crisis of our time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are I guess what I mean is there are societal issues that I think people would place greater importance on based on current events.
And I would say that those might be a distraction from this very important topic because babies can't speak for themselves. And nobody cares about the babies because babies don't vote.
Yep. And yeah, it's exactly that.
And
That's part of
Planned
why.
Parenthood, I'm pretty sure donates a lot of money to the DNC.
And somebody did make a wonderful analogy referring to the founder of Planned Parenthood. It was a sarcastic comment, but talking about how would we carry on her mission of eradicating those undesirables from society.
Yeah,
Because,
you really need to research that lady if you're all kinds of good with this.
yeah, she was very big on wiping out undesirable populations, and that pretty much meant anybody who wasn't white. And I'm not cool with that. In fact, I mean, we've spoken about it before. Like, I think we need to do better by our Black mothers, by our women of color who are birthing in this country with greater mortality rates. I think that's a travesty. And I think we should be protecting them and their children, and we should be recognizing these issues when they come up.
Yep.
And
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I was on Facebook. Like Facebook just cracks me up anyway because people are just nuts. But and I might be one of the nuts people too. I don't know. But they were talking about like the low birth rates and everything, and some lady was like, "So does that mean that you are happy with anybody who has kids, not just white babies?" I'm like, "Yes,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
I love all babies, like all babies."
I think every child is a blessing, and I love the people who try to use that argument. And I'm like, my niece is Mexican. Like,
Right, I have
and
never. Well, so my husband and I have taken children in. Back in the day, we don't anymore. I've never been like, she's not quite the right color. I don't think I'm gonna take that one.
yeah,
What the hell? Like,
and
I don't care.
I know people always talk about I can't be racist. I have a black friend argument. And I don't mean it in that way. I mean that literally it does not matter to
Mm-mm.
me
No,
what color somebody is. I think people are inherently deserving of life.
yeah.
Innocent people. Let me add that caveat. Because
Yeah, because
somebody,
we are all kinds of good with the death penalty.
yeah, because somebody did bring that up. You're so pro life, but I bet you support the death penalty. I do.
I'm pro-life for babies.
I'm pro life for innocent parties. I don't think innocent people should be killed.
Yeah, because I'm really thinking like public execution is fine. I mean, it was a great deterrent back in the day.
If I don't know that we'll ever do a show fully about our opinions on the death penalty, but we've had some discussions about it and they might be funny, so maybe some reels or something, but
Yeah, and
it's
I
not
mean,
really what our show's about.
it's not what our show's about, but I mean, like, I'm sorry if you kill somebody in a heinous way and society needs to off you. I'm cool with it. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, this was the one who said something about the abortions being in the first trimester. Children aren't aborted, children don't fit in uteruses. Bloody clusters the size of an olive are aborted in the first trimester. And that is where you were completely incorrect.
So misinformed. Like I said, a little cursory research before you type might make you not look as dumb as you might be.
Yeah, I think this person might have been arguing because I think I might have said pregnant people or people who are pregnant, and they got mad that I didn't say women. Um, there's an argument mad that says only women can get pregnant. So apparently I said something about people getting pregnant. I mean, women are people.
And let's be honest, not everyone who gets pregnant is necessarily a woman. There are kids who've gotten pregnant.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to call a 15-year-old girl a woman because she's not.
she's not. So
And she shouldn't be getting pregnant, but it
m-
happens. I'm sorry, it's an ugly world.
my whole point there was not even to get into the gender debate. It
Yeah,
was
we're not
just, you know,
debate.
women are people. It's okay to refer to women as people.
Yeah, we're people.
We're people. I'm a people. She's a people.
I'm a people. And you know what? Like, I know we're talking about the abortion thing, but like, social media is a big thing for us. And like, what is all this crap about? Well, you need to be feminine. All that feminine crap. I'm like, you don't even have like, what? What does that mean? Whatever. I've had it. No, women are people, and we're all different. We're not monolithic.
This person said a 1 minute video of I think in my opinion, and now I'm entitled to shame others over it. I wasn't shaming anybody.
I'll shame people over it.
I mean, I literally was discussing my opinion. My opinion, if you can't handle a disabled child, don't have children. That's my opinion. That's not the law. That's not going to influence the law. I am one person. But that is my
Right,
opinion.
we're not even very important people, but,
No,
we're
I
really
mean,
not important people at all, but you know what, I am an American, and I can share my opinion, and if you don't like it, I mean, that's fine, you can keep commenting on our page because that does help us, so we welcome that. We welcome debate, whether it's civil or not, we don't care, because I promise you, you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
this one was one of my favorites because this guy just commented with a whole bunch of memes that were pro abortion.
Oh,
And like each one was its own individual comment. And I just put on there, like, thanks, dude, because you're really boosting us with the algorithm. Like, so many more people are seeing what we have to say because of you. He said, I have to try and educate so people don't fall for your propaganda. I'm like, yeah, but Facebook isn't
so
even prioritizing your
do you know that
comments.
there's men who have bought abortion pills and slipped them to their girlfriends because they didn't wanna have babies? You know that happens, right?
Hmm.
I'm hoping the audience knows that too. And I'm very suspect for these guys who are so pro-abortion. Like, are you the guy who would do that?
Oh, another one. There was several comments about us vaping.
Oh, we vape.
We vape. Okay, I'm not currently pregnant. Guess what I don't do pregnant? I don't vape. I don't drink. I mean, for God's sake, with my son, when they thought it might
What
help,
were they bringing it? Were they talking about it in terms of being pregnant?
they were talking about it in terms of being healthy and if you have vices, you're not a good Christian. So why are you
Oh,
on here
I'm
trying
not
to?
good. Actually, I think we're pretty typical Christians because Christian like churches are filled with sinners, and we are that.
That's
I'm Christian. I never said I was a great one. Don't follow me.
that that's kind of what I said to one of them because they were talking about how I'm worshiping my vape,
I do.
and as a Christian, I shouldn't be doing that
You're
because
right.
it's a sin. And I'm
It
like,
is.
you're totally right. And I never said I was sinless. I never said I was better than anybody else. I stated my opinion on a topic that I feel strongly
Right,
about.
and we never brought the Christianity into it.
No, other than I think a brief second at the very beginning of the episode, we did mention we were Christian, if it was even that episode. We've mentioned it in episodes prior, I know. Our show's not a religious show. It's not really even a political show. This is the most political we've ever
It
gotten.
it really is because I am not here to tell people how to vote. I am not here like I do not want to have a political debate. I think there is so much of that on social media. There's so much of that in people's houses. Like I have people who live in my house that we actually agree, and I'm tired of hearing the opinion. Like, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I think we're all very tired of that. And I think everybody is smart enough to figure out who the hell they want to vote for. So I'm not here to do that. We were talking specifically because we cover mom topics. We belonged to a mom group that was glorifying abortion, and I find that abhorrent and antithetical to motherhood. So I no. So that is the reason we are speaking on that. You probably are not going to hear us speaking about who's running for whatever election. Okay, you figure that out.
Yeah. So this
Vote for who you
comment,
need to vote for. I don't care.
not everyone is able to take care of a fundamentally defective human who will never achieve basic independent function in life.
It's
I
true.
I completely agree. My whole point was if you aren't prepared for that, don't have kids, period, because anyone could be disabled. I've said it a few times. I'm going to say it again. That was my whole point.
Or put the baby up for adoption. Or I mean, here's the thing. Like, so when my husband and I had children, we were not equipped to have children. Okay, at all. I mean, we were worse than broke. All right, things were bad, and we're like, and I was like, baby, I don't know how we're gonna do this. He's like, we're gonna do it though, and we did. You know what I mean? So you do get prepared for things that you never thought you were going to be able to handle. And quite frankly, before I had any of my children, nobody, including myself, thought that I would be any kind of a good mother. I really didn't think so. I was like, man, I'm not maternal. Like, totally going to suck at that bullshit. You know what I mean? And then I had kids, and it turns out I was a pretty good mom. So,
Yeah. So then they followed up with it's fine to say that baby has value, but nobody wants to change the shitty diapers of a 40-year-old man.
I mean, we did it for a living.
Yeah, I think every one who has ever worked as a CNA might have a word to say about that because
Yeah.
changing diapers was not the highlight of my day.
Mhm.
But here's the thing,
It's really not as bad as people think, though.
it's not as bad as people think,
It's
for
not.
one. For two, those people exist. Whether you abort your baby or not, disabled people will always exist. There will always be people who need that level of care,
Sure.
and they deserve dignity.
They do.
And part of your job as a CNA, you may not like changing their diaper. Nobody likes changing a poopy diaper. Come on, let's be so for real. Nobody likes that. But your job as a CNA or as a caregiver to somebody who is dealing with incontinence is to preserve their dignity.
Absolutely.
And I took great pride in preserving people's dignity.
And here's the thing, like, so she was actually working on the floor as a CNA. I was licensed as a CNA, but my job was not on the floor. So, I only had to have that license because I would take people to their doctor's appointments. So it would just be me and them. So in case they had a medical emergency or something, I was qualified to take care of them. Um, but most of my job was done in my office. I did a lot of paperwork and stuff like that, scheduling appointments and ordering stuff for the facility. However, because I really care about people's dignity, I was on the floor changing poopy pants that I didn't have to do. I could have told a CNA to do that. But there was somebody who had a problem. I'm not going to make them wait.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And no, I didn't have to do that. Like it wasn't my job. But I would say that it was all of our job. Like, if you're qualified to do it, it's your job. But I
Mhm.
mean, technically, I could have been like, "Hey, so and so needs you," and went in my office and like, you know, handled finances or something like that. No, I never did that because people need care, and it's not that bad. I swear to you, it's not that bad.
But
It's really not that bad. And if you were in that position, you would want somebody to care for you with that level of respect.
but to all the people who assume that we just care about babies and forcing women to give birth,
Yeah, that's no
I care about
people.
innocent people. And I don't say this to glorify myself, just as an example. There was a woman who hated me. I didn't really like her either. But when she was crying and terrified on her deathbed, I sat with her. I held her hand. I sang to her and I made sure she was comfortable and that she died with dignity in her last hours.
Yeah, well, and I think as far as making comments to us, you really don't know us. You really
You
don't know
really
what we've
don't.
been through. You really don't. And if you knew the half of it, half of this crap wouldn't have been said.
Yeah,
Or maybe it would have been. I don't know. People are what they are. But guess what? We would change a poopy diaper if we had to.
absolutely. Like, even if I disagree with you, now I might have some reservations if I found out you did some horrible crime, but it's not really my business. Like, if
I
you
don't.
are there in the capacity of somebody needing care and it is my job to care for you, I will.
I mean, even if it's not my job, I probably would.
Right. Like,
I mean, oh man, it would have to be something really bad for me not to take care of somebody
it
when they needed somebody.
it
If
would have to
somebody
be something
had a
horrible.
need and I was able to provide it, I I think I just would, whether I like the person or not.
It would have to be something horrible, is what I'm
Yeah,
getting
like
at. That
yeah, like if
and even then, I'm not saying I wouldn't help. I'm just saying I might have some internal struggles with it.
well, I
But
mean, I'm not gonna lie, like at the nursing home, there was a few people that I was like, I don't want to go in there because they were just miserable people. But
me too.
I get
But
that. But
on more than one occasion, like, I was the one who was there. I was the one who was able to help that person. And regardless of my feelings about them, I was going to step in because not only was it my job, but that is the right thing to do. And while I might not like them, that's somebody's mom, that's somebody's grandma, that's somebody's aunt, somebody's child.
well, and also like when like with old people, you have to have a little. You got to give them a little grace too, because you really don't know what they've been through in their life either.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people who had a lot of trauma, especially like our older generation right now. Okay, because they might have had a lot of trauma. Um, None of them really dealt with any of it. You know what I mean? That was before therapy. That was before self help. That was before all of that. And some of that stuff I think comes up at end of life. You know what I mean? The stuff that they've kind of stuffed in the basement for their entire lives kind of starts bubbling up. and a lot of them just get really bitter and, so try to if you are in a position where you're dealing with somebody of that generation, to try to have a little grace because they might not know they're being the way they're being.
Well, and on that note too, there are a lot of older people and younger people, obviously, like dementia can actually affect people at any age,
Yes.
who cannot properly communicate their needs.
Mhm,
It's the same with babies. These people are essentially voiceless. They need someone to be a voice for them.
mhm.
And if I can be that voice for some 100-year-old lady that I don't know from Adam, I can be that voice for an unborn child.
Right.
I see no difference. Both of those are human beings who deserve rights, who deserve dignity. So,
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, you can judge us if you want to, you can argue with us if you want to, but that is our stance. And it's not going to change. I've not one argument has somebody given me that made me go, "Oh yeah, you're right." It just isn't, and I can't imagine there will be.
I can't imagine there will be. And as I mean, I felt strongly about the topic of abortion long before having children, but since having children, I am even more strengthened in my
Well,
beliefs.
and you have to know that as before I was an adult, before I was a mom, I wasn't against abortion.
Hmm.
But then I saw a thing or two,
Yeah,
and I took child development.
yeah,
So yeah. So I can be convinced against what I believe,
yeah,
but none of the stuff in our comments is gonna do.
yeah. That and there was, quite frankly, if you're trying to make a point and then you start calling names, I'm just assuming you've run out of points to make because you're not gaining headway. So now you're attacking me personally. So the attacks about my faith, my vaping,
Yep,
my use of the word child versus fetus.
mhm.
Um,
Well, here's the thing,
hey,
like, I'm pretty confident, and so are my kids, because they were raised right. Um, so there's not a whole lot somebody could say to me, like, trying to insult me that's gonna rock my sense of self. So if you want to do that, you go right ahead. I think most of the time people call me Karen, like, "It's so original, I'll try not to cry," or call me old, like, yeah, because my mom didn't abort me, so I got to grow up. Cool.
yeah. So
So whatever.
and
Come up with something more original, like butt munch or something at least, 'cause at least I can get a laugh.
yeah, there's nothing you're gonna say at this point that's gonna hurt my
No,
feelings.
I don't care. If I cared, I wouldn't put up one.
I was gonna say, I I know some people get bothered by the hate comments. We were having a good old time. So to everyone who commented, who boosted that with the algorithm by bitching at me and telling me it was an ass take to say
Well,
that we
right, and then
shouldn't
we
kill
were calling
disabled
each other,
people,
"Listen to what this jackass said."
right?
I mean,
Somebody
come on,
said
guys, we don't care.
my take was ass that I said you shouldn't have a kid if you can't deal with a disabled child. I'm like, how is that ass? If you can't deal with disability, don't put yourself in a position where you may potentially have to care for somebody with a disability. I mean, so here's an example. A friend of my husband's, his roommate, got sick, took some cold medicine, fell asleep. He was a young, able bodied man. He woke up and his arm was black. It had to be amputated to save his life. He went from young and able bodied one day to an amputee the next. That is how fast disability can happen.
Sure. And
And
and it's happened in our family.
it's happened in our family.
Mhm.
So my whole point is do not put yourself in a position to care for another human being if you cannot handle if that human being becomes disabled.
And just so you know, an infant's not really viable outside the womb without somebody taking care of them.
Yeah, if you want to talk
So
about
could you just
viability,
not feed them and that would be okay? Because
right?
they're viable? Okay, I don't it doesn't even make any sense.
Like my son now at over 3 years old, I would call him viable. He
Yeah,
can get his own
he can
snacks.
get his own snacks.
He even knows how to cook his own breakfast. He
Mhm.
doesn't do it often, and he probably hurt himself. He tried to do it alone,
Right.
but
Yeah. You guys were pretty self-sufficient pretty young too.
yeah. So like my three year
But my
old,
infants were not self-sufficient. I
but
had to keep feeding them.
my daughter would not be self-sufficient.
No.
She cannot toilet herself. She cannot get her own. She can get her own snacks. She can't get them open. But
Right.
so if you want to talk about viability,
And that's the slippery slope.
yeah,
How slippery is the slope going to get? Because it's already gotten way slipperier. slippery, more slippery than it ever was. I remember when it was, there was no ice on that slope.
But
Now it's a loop.
to all the comments saying we don't know anything about being disabled,
Thank
squish
you.
brain.
Please. Yeah, we are like technically this.
We are both technically disabled, so
Yeah,
suck it. I don't want to hear it.
right. I guess I should go for assisted suicide because my life's so not worth living.
I mean, look, I don't normally say, "Oh, I'm disabled."
I never say I'm disabled
You would
because
never say you're
no.
disabled. And people within disability rights groups would say that that's internalized ableism, whatever. I don't think of myself as disabled. I technically am. There are days where I cannot function normally because of my conditions.
I mean, I've had dementia, so there's that.
You had dementia.
I did, and I also had like chronic pain. But what I'm not even going to get into it. 'Cause I've never felt like a victim ever in my life. Not that I've never been victimized. I have been, but I rise above, and so no medical thing, whatever, is going to hold me back either. But that is not to say that there are not disabilities that are so much worse than mine that you can't just rise above. Um, and that is a thing, like I don't know, whatever the case may be. So no, I don't feel disabled. Am I technically disabled? Yeah, I am, but
I think
whatever.
the issue there and why I wouldn't normally call myself disabled, partly because there are people more disabled than I
So
am.
much more.
Like, I lead a relatively normal life, but also saying I'm disabled feels like adopting a victim complex.
In our case, yeah. And I think and to be like, oh, my plight is so much worse. Like you don't have Chiari malformation. Every single person on the face of the earth has their challenges, whatever those challenges might be. They might be a physical disability, they might be a mental disability, they might just be circumstances in their life. I mean, life is adverse and we're all trying to get through it. And I just think that we should allow babies a chance to try to get through theirs too.
Yeah. And I think, we got a lot of hate comments. Thank you for that. You really helped get our show seen by a lot of people. A lot of people watched that episode.
Yeah.
Um, and for all the ones making assumptions, you know what they say about assumptions, right? Makes an ass out of you and me. Let's stop it. Because you know nothing.
Let's just wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
I'm done.
Boom.
Done with it.